Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Today we're on the PTS, and I was thinking, up to you guys. You'll have to let me know what you guys want to do, but I'm thinking that maybe today. Sorry, let me mess with my mic. I think the cable's loose. I think today we can maybe we play with some solo builds or some DPS builds. I kind of wanted to see what everybody's thoughts were, what you guys wanted to see, but we don't have too many in just yet. So maybe we first off drop in the chat if there's something you want to see, something you want to do. I'm trying to think, maybe like a Frost Warden. We could do something like that. Let's maybe give that a shot and see if we don't end up with something we like. We're on the PTS, so we'll just make some stuff up here. We'll start off with as a Warden with a base. Now, it probably makes sense to start off with something else, but we're just gonna start off here with the Warden. I think, yeah, Frosty Warden. That name is certainly going to be taken, but we'll try it here. Is there anything else we need to do? Frosty Wardens. There we go. Solo builds, like something you could run around and solo dungeons on, or do whatever you want on. Something not planned for like group content. That's kind of what I was thinking, Batra. I think probably soloing dungeons is probably one of the harder things you would probably do on a build or a setup. I'm open to suggestions though. If there's something you're thinking about, you're curious about, doesn't have to be a Warden. Like we could whatever you guys want to do, let me know. Guys, for those just joining, I see that we have people popping in now. I was just telling Vatra and everybody, and we're just chatting about, I think today we might talk about some solo builds. If you guys have any questions about anything, certainly let me know. We can talk about that, but we're just chatting for the next couple hours until we got a hard mode Sunspire, and then we got hard mode Dreadcell Reef coming up that we're healing both of those. And I was thinking it might be fun to do kind of a solo setup for soloing dungeons, doing the Endless Archive, stuff like that. And I was thinking we could start with a Warden. Other things that I'm pretty interested in checking out, we could play with a Corpse Buster build with a Necro. We could also do like a Templar. Could be really good for like a solo build with some jabs or sweeps, as the case may be. We could talk more about the meta beam build right now, although I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that we've kind of talked about that a bit before, so it's not as original. So yeah, just let me know. We'll start off here with let's look at Winter's Embrace. So we're gonna make a Frost Warden. The cool thing about making a Frost Warden is that Winter's Embrace has a lot of tanking abilities here, which will provide us with a decent amount of survivability and armor, depending on what we do. Oh, I forgot to change the name. Oh my gosh, thank you, Franny. Oh my gosh, let me do it. I'm sorry, guys. What are we doing? We're not playing Dune Awakening anymore. What are we doing? Let me see. Solo PTS builds. There we go. Thank you so much, Franny. I'd love to see a .dps build that's as viable as possible, something that saps the life from all its victims. Twisted said, okay, cool. And any Twisted, that's great, a great prompt, man. Any flavor, any class you want to start with? I mean, if we're doing that, we probably start with a Necro. But the Corpse Buster is not going to be really dot based, since there's a lot of explosions and stuff with that. Whatever you think is best. Okay. All right. Maybe we can power through a few today. So let's just take a look here. So Glacial Presence increase the chance of applying chilled status effect and its damage. This is just a really nice passive. We don't really need to worry about this. Scales off the highest of your weapon and spell damage. So it's scaling off of DPS stuff. And then we have Frozen Armor, increase your physical and spell pen for each Winter's Embrace ability slotted. So we're going to try to keep a decent amount on our bar. What else do we want to do? So if we're purely solo, or even if we're not, I think that you go with Ice Fortress. And this will provide major resolve for you and anybody within 8 meters of you for 30 seconds. Nice duration. It also provides that minor protection, which we can get a lot of places now, but for right now, we've got it here, so might as well grab it. Kat says, do you think with subclassing being introduced, ZOS could add single skill lines? Kat, I do. I have no idea where, like, so many people have mentioned that, have asked about it, and we've talked about it. I think, for starters, weapon skill lines are what comes to me, comes to mind first. Like, I think a lot of people have wanted, like, a monk style, right? That would be super cool. I have no idea where ZOS's thinking is on that, if they are open to the idea, if they are considering it at all. It offers more challenges than just creating the skill line if they did something like that. If we're talking just other class skill lines, like I do think there's possibility there. Yeah, it's hard to say. They haven't really said anything about it. I think that would be like next year kind of thing if we got something like that. I think that they have a lot. I don't know, though. It's hard to say because ZOS will oftentimes not finish things and just move on to the next thing. So we could also see them do that. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible. I think it would probably be, again, in the future. But yeah, definitely possible. So we're also going to go here with Winter's Revenge, just a nice damaging ability, ground dot, and it does 30% more damage with a Destruction Staff equipped. We're going to be doing double ice staffs, so this won't matter. Again, we just get some free armor down here. What was it? 1,240 for having these on our front bar. It's not registering them on our bar right now because we're talking to someone to respec. Also, we're going to go with Arctic Blast here, another good dot, and I think that's it from the skill line. Sleet Storm, we could use this. The major protection could be nice, and it does damage. So it's a definite maybe. Increased damage done every second while active, or increase the snare potential. I think we'll go with Northern Storm. What up, Chicken? What's going on, man? Welcome in, everybody. Guys, we're playing around doing some solo builds right now. If you have any questions about anything, you want to chat about anything, drop it in. We're just making builds right now. So I think we're going to start off here. We're starting off here with a Frost Warden. So I think this is the skills we want from here. Let me see other things we got here. If someone's hitting us consistently, we can apply Major Maim to them, which is really nice. It's kind of situational, though. Not going to be something we can always guarantee. And then we also have Piercing Cold, which increases the amount of damage we can block, which is super nice, and increases our frost damage by 15%. Necraz Frost. Yeah, I'm thinking that's where we're going next, Chicken. So I think that's everything we need from here. Basically, we don't need Green Balance or Animal Companions. Animal Companion does offer some really good skills, like Scorch, and its morphs really good. Fetcher is it's a good dot, single target dot, or AoE dot, depends which one you use it for. And, there is some benefits here. I think we'll drop Green Balance first off, just to see what else we can do. So let's just start with that. What up, Wampus? And, I think Necro would be my first thought as well. I don't remember what skill line they are in. Is it Gravelord? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So we'll grab Gravelord. We'll swap out Green Balance, and we'll take a look at what we're getting from that. I don't know if there's still a bug in the game, so we're gonna accept that. There was a bug where it wouldn't let you, like you couldn't slot skills here. So we'll go ahead and spec into our passives. The game is telling me what a passive is. Hey, Miss Loud, what's going on? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I'm going to be Necro after patch, and I don't give a fuck what best meta is. Okay, Necro's going to be great. Necro's going to be good. There's going to be some options there. I'll be resin and risen. Okay, nice. Still loving the arc. Excellent. Okay, cool. We can make a Corpse Buster build potentially. out of this if we wanted to. I'm trying to think how much sense that would make and how it would work out. Probably not as much as going with a pure meta build, so maybe we won't do that. So increases your damage done with damage over time effects by 10%. Disassembler, or dismember, I'm sorry. While a Gravelord ability is active, your spell and physical penetration is increased by over 3,000. And then we got Death Knell, increase your critical strike against enemies under 33% health by 20%. Makes us some crazy crits and execute. And then increases, or I'm sorry, when your sacrificial blast bone, skeletal mage, or spirit mender dies, the cost of your next sacrificial blast bones, skeletal mage or spirit mender is reduced by 66%. Did they increase that? I don't remember it being that high. So we want Boneyard because this is the ice ability on this skill line. And this is going to be a solo build, so I think we'll choose Avid Boneyard. Although we do need Major Breach from somewhere. So Unnerving Boneyard applies Major Breach and Minor Vulnerability. And and persists for a duration when enemies leave the area. And then Avid Boneyard, we can use our own synergy. That's tough. I think for right now, we're going to go with Unnerving. It would be nice to be able to use our own synergy, but I think having Major Breach is going to be pretty important. Will this be the rise of our stamina healers? Is there any particular reason you're feeling stamina healers? I don't think so. Is there some particular skill or ability you're thinking about? MK or something maybe? How about Arc, Nightblade, and Warden, Herald, Assassin, Animal Companion? That should work well. Loud. We can pop into that in a second. Cool. What's up, Weird Moogle? I choose math and science as my multi-class. Nice. Chicken says, I'm thinking Necro Corpse Buster will be trash while boss being supportive role. What do you mean, Chicken? I think Corpse Buster would work great, man. I think Corpse Buster would be just fine for that kind of setup. So what else do we want to do here? So we could do damage over time, increase with our sacrificial blast bones. I don't think we want to do stamina because that's disease damage, and we're trying to stick with a theme. So this will increasing your damage done with necromancer abilities and damage over time effects by 15%. So I think that we want to go with Gravelord here. Do we need a Gravelord ability slotted? Yeah, we need it for this critical strike chance. So it really doesn't matter. We could have either one of these skills. I tend to think that we put Gravelord on the back bar because it's a 20-second duration, and we leave the shorter duration Unnerving Boneyard on our front bar. Is there anything that is per ability? I don't think there is. It doesn't look like it. We got Flame Skull. That's not going to do any ice damage. We do have Colossus, which is frost damage. So maybe we do a Frost Colo? We'll think about it. We'll put it back here. Oh, man, I forgot. All my keybinds are changed and everything else. I kind of hate sometimes coming on the PTS once it's swapped over. That's my goal for Overworld mucking about. Okay. Is to make that particular setup that you talked about loud. Guys, a lot of people joined, so I'm sorry I'm saying this for like the third time, but what we're doing today, I think we're playing around with some solo builds. But if we have any questions or anything you guys want to talk about, drop them in chat. But we're just hanging out for the next couple hours, playing around, theory crafting, and what have you. Right now, we're looking at making a Ice Warden, so that's what we're doing. So we got Gravelord, Winter's Embrace, and then we'll have to find a third skill line here in a second. So I don't think we can put all of these ice skills on our front bar, but as it stands, even if we just keep 2, we are looking at almost 2,500 resistances. You know, it'd be really good. What really could set us over? I think.
An excellent. Your choices today.
Thinking about.
Of course.
Thinking about what would be. Oh my gosh! I think one of these lets me. Do I just use the scroll to respec? Yeah, okay, we'll do that. All right, cool. I think Arcanist, is actually the way to go here because, is it Herald of the Tomb? Yeah, because they have we've got another ice skill here. I believe it's a Tentacular Dread, right? Isn't it ice? Let's see. Tentacular Dread. Yep, frost damage. Okay, so we'll go with this. Tentacular Dread, I think, could also go on the back bar. Let's check out our passives real quick, though, just to see what we got. Okay, cool. All right. So we've got Faded Fortune, Warp Fade around you, generate Crux, and consume Crux. I'm sorry, when you consume and generate Crux, increase your critical damage and critical healing by 12% for 7 seconds. That's going to be really useful for us on a solo build, so we like that. Harness Quintessence. You master the warp and weft of your very soul. When you're restoring magicka or stamina, increase weapon and spell damage by 284 for 10 seconds. That's basically just always up. Psychic Lesion. When a Herald of the Tomb ability slotted, your attacks wound the mind with heretical knowledge, increasing damage dealt by status effects by 15%. And status effect chance by 55%. Okay, cool. So this is going to work well with our Winter's Embrace because we're already doing extra brittle damage, or I'm sorry, chilled damage, and so this will increase it even more. So that's really cool. So, and it increases the chance of applying that effect to where it's like going to be applying all the time. What's up, Baggins? T Baggins says, going to give my Warden Storm Calling and get rid of the green. Okay, nice, nice. Cool, so Psychic Lesion there, I think it's going to work really well. And then Splintered Secrets, what they don't know can kill them. Increase your physical and spell penetration by 1240 per Herald of the Tome ability slotted. That actually makes it where maybe we want to slot something on our front bar. We'll have to think about it here. Okay, so what else do we want to grab? Well, for Tentacular Dread, we really need to generate and consume Crux. We also want... So this is the unfortunate thing here, guys. I really think it would make the most sense to start with an Arcanist based and do this. And the reason for it is I keep mentioning this. People keep asking me. But the class mastery on an Arcanist, which is the thing that matters for your base class, is to generate Crux. And I think we need some other way of generating Crux here on this build. So I think we kind of have to pop over. We're going to have to pop over to the Arcanist. We'll be able to put everything back on real quick, but I think that we got to be an Arcanist base. As you can tell, I spammed the keyboard to get this character. Sometimes on PTS, I just like mash my keyboard and I hit enter and it's like somebody else already has that name and it always cracks me up. Okay, so we'll talk to our friend here. So we're keeping Herald of the Tome. And we're going to grab Necro and Warden. So we'll grab Winter's Embrace. We'll change out Soldier of the Apocrypha. And then we will grab Gravelord, and we'll swap out Curative Rune Forms. Cool. I think that's the way to go. Let's just grab these passives again real quick. You know what? Usually the easiest way to do this, let's grab a skill. Or actually, maybe if I talk to her, she'll give me one. There we go. Use the skill respec, and then it won't make me confirm it every time. Arc just seems so flexible. Yeah. I mean, every single skill line in the Arcanist is just incredibly strong, right? Like, they made it the pay-to-win class when it came out. And so, yeah, it's just still incredibly strong. So not much you can do to get around that. Again, we're just grabbing the same skills we had before. Get ourselves kind of set up here. Go with Ice Fortress, then Northern Storm. Buddy in Guild is making a heal arc. No idea what subs he's using. Yeah, heal arc is great. Heal Arcanist is going to be great. All right, we'll slot some of these guys on our front barge for the extra armor, I think. One of the things you can do if you really want to min-max is you can get kind of ridiculously high armor if you really want to. And some of it you just get, even if you're running like the same builds you were running before, you'll just get more armor because most of the armor passives, I think all of them, were buffed this last patch. So we've also got a Source of Major Resolve, which is awesome. And was there anything? Oh yeah, we wanted Gravelord Sacrifice here. We'll slot that on the back bar, I think. And then we can also maybe grab, tentatively, we might consider using the Golo. We'll have to think about it. I think one of these was with, yeah, so if we want this critical strike chance, we do need one of these skills on our front bar. So we'll have to think about that. We want at least one of them up here, though. We'll have to think about it. And then Herald of the Tome, we need to just make sure. So we're going to go Tentacular Dread, which is the other morph of Cephaliarch's Flail. And that's going to give us, so what it does is both morphs give 5% increased damage to enemies that it hits for 20 seconds. And then with Tentacular Dread, you consume Crux and increases the damage it does by 33% per Crux, and the damage done to foes with the Abyssal Ink by 2% per Crux. So this ability here allows you to, increase the amount of damage you're doing by 11% for 20 seconds. So it's kind of crazy. I think what we're going to run into is that we're going to run out of bar space pretty quickly. And another thing we're going to have to do is go look at scribing. So we're going to have to go scribe some skills. So let's go ahead and port over. I think we're going to want the banner. We don't have to use the banner, but it's really good. So I'm thinking about it. We're going to be really kind of struggling for bar space, and it does have it does cost more now, but tentatively I'm thinking about the banner. If we don't use the banner, we want some scribing skills. Basically what we want, guys, is to be able to have 3 Crux every 20 seconds, which is not that much, so that we can keep Tentacular Dread up. Other than that, I don't really think that we need to generate Crux more often than that. 1 Crux every 7 seconds gives us our 12% increased critical damage there, and critical healing, and nothing else in the skill line is per Crux or win Crux. So none of these other ones really are going to matter too much. We do have extra penetration from Splintered Secrets, so we have to balance armor and crit. So armor from the Herald of the Tome ability, armor from Winter's Embrace, penetration for Herald of the Tome, and from Brave Lords the crit damage while in execute under 33%. When do we get subs on Sony? Let me see here. What else? So, oh, do we have to go buy him? What? Oh my god. Do I have to unlock it? This is killing me. Scribing supplies. Algermore is all okay. All right. This used to be a little bit easier. Okay, there we get all the luminous ink, all scripts, Algermores. Okay. We good now? I think we're good. So if we go Banner Bearer, the main thing is that this second option here is going to be our Class Mastery, which will generate a Crux once every 5 seconds. Listen, they need to buff Fate Carver by 150%. Let's go, Timbo. I think you're onto something there, man. Buff Fate Carver 150%. Yeah, let's do it. I'm not looking forward to scribing. Vatra, it's not too bad. Have you not engaged with it at all? Monkey says it's Class Mastery bound to your main class. It is, Monkey. It is. Which basically means that Arc and Necro are the 2 most important base classes to have moving forward, because they have the 2 best, and Necro also has Corpse Buster, which is the set from the Endless Archive that's class specific, which also matters for what your base class is. So, and Necros can generate corpses, and then here, scribing, they can generate Crux with the Arcanist. Nope, haven't started scribing at all. Well, it's not as bad as it was when it first came out. So here's something I have a bone to pick with Zos. If you look at all these guys, flame damage, okay. Immobilize, sure. Magic damage, mitigation, multi-target, physical damage, restore resources, shock damage. There's no ice damage buff, and I don't understand why. They just didn't think about it, but there's no way to boost your ice damage with the banner, which kind of sucks. So I think, what do we want here? Damage over time, maybe with the flame. We could do... I know these aren't... It's kind of odd to me, too, because, like, Martial is a type of damage, and then these other ones, like Flame, is, like, damage over time, and then Shock is direct damage. So it's, like, a little bit awkward there. Thank you, Mother. So, multi-target, maybe? We'll have to see. Hey, what's up, Terrell? What's going on, man? Ice damage is... Monkey, no. Magic damage is its own damage type, man. It's really confusing. Yeah, you would think that ice damage would be a kind of magical damage, but magic damage is its own damage type. PC looks so much different than console. Going well, man. Going well. Before this, we were playing a little Dune Awakening, which is a new MMO. It's a survival MMO by Funcom, and it was pretty fun, man. I'm looking forward to playing that more. It doesn't come out. It's the beta test weekend, and it comes out on the June 20th. And I'm looking for. It looks amazing. Like as far as like the graphics and everything, it's like beautiful. And there's some pretty fun things that I like about it. So yeah, so far so good, man. There'll be a VOD if you want to take a look at my. It's pretty slow going, the first VOD. I might play later on tonight. If I can continue the marathon of stream, because that'll be like hour 9. I'll be starting hour 9, but I'll definitely be playing it tomorrow and Sunday as well. And the second and third streams will be, you know, the first streams I'm like getting the intro and I'm listening to everything and what have you. So it's a little bit slower on those. So we're gonna go with, well, we're solo. I gotta keep reminding myself that we are solo. So what do we want to do? We don't need protection. We don't need. I'm thinking heroism, but courage is kind of nice too. I'm thinking heroism for solo. We could just drink really expensive potions if we wanted to, and then we could go courage. I think either way is fine. Okay, let's just play with this real quick, guys. What I like to do, just to keep things simple, keep them quick, is I just throw stuff on my bar. And then what I do is I just do like an iterative process, and I go, well, I mean, like this setup right now doesn't work, right? Like we don't have a spammable, so that's not going to work, and we're missing some skills, but we're just throwing stuff on our bar. So we're going to go with Elemental Blockade for the extra duration, because we're going to have plenty of abilities to keep up. And then we also need Frost Reach, Destructive Reach rather, and it'll with Ice Staff, it's Frost. And this looks pretty good to me. Now, we can change some things up if we have bar space. So we're going to generate enough Crux that we're fine on Tentacular Dread. Other ways of generating Crux would be more scribing skills that do just ice damage. Oh my gosh, this going off in the background is so annoying. Dual wield scribing as Spamble or Frost Reach? I think so. I would use Frost. So Frost Reach is one of the options. There's another scribing skill that we can use. Is Dune PvP only? No. Mersad, Dune is not PvP only. And if you guys want like all the mechanics and everything, and kind of how the game works, I have a video on the channel. It didn't get a lot of views, but it's on the channel, and I think I cover stuff pretty well. But just because there's a lot of stuff, I can't give you the full rundown right now. But no, there are areas where you can opt into PvP, but it's not like always on PvP or anything like that now. And there's a lot of like house building, like that's a big part of it. And people can't just come and knock over your house or anything like that, but you can build pretty much anywhere. Terrell says, is the arc beam still going to be mag damage, or they changed that too? No, it's still mag damage. Yeah, and actually just to explain that, so this is Monkey, what you're asking about, man. If you look here, it actually says Magicka damage. That's the kind of damage it does here. So it's its own damage source. Nightblades, Arcanist, of course, with a beam, and then Templars usually have the most magic damage. If you go Magicka with a Templar, really with all of them, I guess. Yeah, or check out the streams too, and what have you. So yeah, we can get a little bit with Tomb Bearers. We could get a, what we could do, and might save us some bar space, and it actually works pretty well. So Elemental Explosion is our elemental skill line, and if we, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. So we can do Frost with this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Frost damage, and we can also give ourselves a buff of some sort. I don't think we don't need Brittle. We're gonna have Brittle from everywhere. We probably need our own source of off balance. We'll do off balance. That'll be the most damage. If we want to do something else, what would be our other option that we might like? I don't really think there's anything crazy. Nah. Oh, Cowardice. If we're in Endless Archive and we want a source of minor cowardice to reduce enemies' damage done, we would do cowardice here. I think that right now, for maximum damage, we would go with off balance. So a lot of people have been sleeping on this. I haven't done it. I'm part of the problem. I haven't covered it in a video, but this scribing skill actually works quite well. Chilling Explosion. When this first came out, I parsed on this, and it was only a few K less single target damage if you can keep all of your dots up. And as you can see, it's a friggin' massive area. I would argue this is a better area than the beam, and this can be your spammable if you use a Destro Staff. It's a 2-second channeled spammable, so it's kind of wild, but I think this could work really well. And the cool thing is we can put our class mastery, and this can generate Crux for us. Well, if this is generating Crux for us, while the banner is nice, we're really low on bar space, and we could yeet it off our bar. Now we just have to hit our spammable 3 times every 20 seconds so that we can keep up Tentacular Dread. And I feel like with our bar space being what it is, I don't know if this is the best thing to do, but I think it's a thing to do. And I think it would work pretty good. So we're gonna try that and consider using that as our spammable. So you've been keeping the sauce from us? Yeah, Terrell, it's not the best thing, and so many people don't care about stuff if it's not the best thing. And I looked at redoing my Warden, and I was about to do that, and I would have talked to you guys about it, but then this patch came out, and obviously everything goes out the window this patch. I'm doing it now, Terrell. I'm doing it now. Okay, so that works well. We have Tentacular Dread. That's really all we need. Is there anything else that we really want from the skill line? So there's some flex spots here. If we want a source of brutality, it can be here for us, and then we could run different kinds of potions. Maybe we could run heroism potions. We're not getting that from our banner now, although I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it gives us more Crux, but we don't necessarily need more Crux. So again, not really that big of a deal. So, yeah, the imperfect ring here. If we want to stack ads in the Endless Archive, this could be one. And it's weird. The synergy does ice damage, but the core base of the ability does not do ice damage, which is weird to me. It's costing stamina right now, I think, because our stamina is higher than our magicka. I think this is a dynamically costing ability. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is. And then if we choose Rune of Displacement, it'll pull all of the enemies together. And that can be really nice in the archive because they're always spread out for killing them all at the same time. Although, again, if we're using Chilling Explosion, we can probably hit anybody we want. So I kind of think that this is all we need. We don't really need anything else from the skill line. I mean, our ulti here could be very good, but we want a themed build, and that's not ice-based, so probably not that. I'm trying to think of what else. So we do need one skill on our front bar, as we talked about, from this skill line, and I think it would make a little bit more sense if it were one with a very short duration. Is there anything else? So now we're just looking to fill in stuff. So like historically what we would do here is we'd want Trap Beast for that minor force, the extra 10% critical damage. First off, we're getting a bunch of critical damage. We might need to test and see what ours is at. So we get an extra 12% there. We might still need more. But we also have scribing here. So let's just double check ourselves. So we already know we're good on Herald of the Tome. We've got everything we want. We have everything we want from Winter's Embrace. Let me see. What else do we have? Gravelord here. Yeah, we don't really need anything from this. None of it's going to be ice themed. We got Shocking Siphon, Skeletal Mage, and then we got our Flame Skull and Glacial Colossus, which we already put on our bar. So I don't think we need anything else from that skill line. Ellie Sus could be a really good skill that could help us with our sustain, and it also applies that breach that we don't really need, but it actually just does decent damage, and it doesn't cost anything. Lyriel Doom was really fun. Yeah, done with Doom for now. It was a good time. So far, so good. I was dying there at the end trying to build. I was dying, Lyriel, trying to build a house. Can you believe that? And Lyriel, just before like 5:45 would be great if that works for you. I can believe that. Yeah, Infinite Archive or just solo. If you want to solo dungeons, Terrell, this is like a solo build. It's kind of what I was thinking we're doing today. I wish I had that many skill points, right? No kidding. So, yeah, we're double ice staffing. Nothing else really to cover here. Arbor, we don't really need to worry about. It's all passives. Is there anything in particular that we want from any of these skill lines? I don't think there is. I don't think there's anything that jumps out at me. Alliance. Yeah, nothing's jumping out. The way we'll keep ourselves alive, guys, is by putting on Ring of the Pale Order for solo, and then we just do damage. And if we're doing damage, hey, Hammer, what's going on, man? If we're doing damage, then we're going to be fine because we're going to be healing ourselves plenty. So we have several choices for full-on damage mitigation. We could go with Ulfsild's Contingency. I really like doing Damage Shield, Class Mastery. Or actually, you know what? We're Gladiator's Tenacity. And then probably we could do Force. So we have a source of Force. We could go Resolve. We don't have any source of minor Resolve. I think that would be the way to go here. So this would be really good for survivability. Let's go ahead and craft it. And we'll play with stuff in a second. Wield Soul would be single target. Do we have ice on? Not all of these abilities have ice damage. Okay. We do have frost damage on it. What else do we want? Anything else on here that... So we got frost damage over time. I kind of like it. It's not a lot, but it's something. And then anything else. So we already have breach on our enemies. We could do major cowardice. This could be a good source of major cowardice for us. This helps you not die to the what are they called? Like the elite ads that spawn randomly. If you have major and minor cowardice, and like a crusher enchantment, like you can go really far in the archive. Just you got to make sure you keep those debuffs on them. How are you healing yourself with all DD skills? Remember, new players, so not very knowledgeable. Yeah, Loud. We're going to use Ring of the Pale Order, also referred to as ROPO by its abbreviation. And I'll show it to you in just a second, but it heals us for a percentage of the damage done. 20%, I believe, is what if that's still the base. And then it goes down for each person in our group. It reduces our healing by 4% until it does 0 healing in larger groups. So if you're in the Endless Archive, it still heals you for the majority of the value. And even in dungeons sometimes, like when the healer's not healing at all, it can still be worth running it. If you're doing enough damage, it'll keep you alive. Yeah, so that's where we're getting that from. So if enemies are hitting us consistently, they will apply major maim to themselves. So we don't necessarily need to worry about this, but this is a place we could get it. Endless Archive, absolutely major cowardice. Anywhere else, it's a bit of a choose your own adventure. I think you could do a couple of things. Getting ourselves minor resolve if we don't have it from some other source could be good. We'll pretend like we're doing archive and we'll go with cowardice here. All right, and then Soul Burst. Same deal here where, yeah, we have frost damage. Again, we could generate Crux if we wanted to. What else do we have? We'd probably just do Lingering Torment again, and that's a 20-second duration, which is nice. It's not the 10-second one. And then I believe this is also an AoE ability. Yeah, 8-meter radius. It's in an area. And it's minor courage, if we wanted to do that. I'm sorry. I was thinking the opposite of this. What else would we want to use? Sometimes these affix scripts get to the point where you're like, does it matter? Is it that big a deal? I don't know. Nothing really is. Nothing's really crying out to me here. Minor Maim. I don't know if we have a source. Oh yeah, we have Minor Maim from Brittle. What am I thinking? Resolve. We could also give ourselves Resolve again if we didn't have it. We'll just double up, and we'll take a look. Let me see. Where says Elemental Explosion, Frost Damage, Warfare, Defense, and Cowardice. 2-second cast for good damage. Yeah, we already got it, my dude. We're there. We're actually using it for Crux generation though. War Mage's Defense on. Oh, okay. Or on this on Elemental Explosion. I don't know what that is. What does the War Mage's Defense do? If an enemy is hit, grants you a damage shield that absorbs. Okay. Oh, and you can hit a bunch of enemies. Yeah, that could be a pretty good shield. Yeah, that could be a pretty good shield. I would tend to just do damage though. We want something to produce Crux for us. I guess if we were a Warden base and we weren't, then I don't know. You'd have to do everything different if this were a Warden base actually. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's a giant area, so the chances you're going to get like a 10k shield are pretty high. New open hand skill line incoming, elemental based, beefing up frost damage. That'd be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, we're Moogle. Yeah, you could definitely do that, man. The problem with shields is that eventually you get into content that's hitting you hard enough that if you try to shield through it, the shield goes away so quickly that really it's best to just heal yourself through it. So that's why I would tend not to stack shields most of the time. They work until they don't. They work really well until you start taking more damage than the shields you're getting per second, and you can always increase your damage. And so if you have Ring of the Pale Order on, and I'll just pull this up for everybody, or maybe I just type Pale. There we go. So it's a mythic, and yeah, it restores 20% of the damage you deal as health. This value is decreased by 4% per ally you're grouped with. You cannot be healed by anyone but yourself, your pets, or your companion. So not something you want to use in group content, but this, if you just do more damage loud, and in most content, you can do enough damage that you heal yourself to full every second because you're always putting out damage. Now, the trick with this is to always keep dots and keep damage down. And that can be a little bit tricky at first, but in general isn't too bad. Let me change some settings here. I'm not sure where it's at, but I need to make sure that my ability bars are always showing for starters. That would be excellent. There we go. So we can always see them. Okay. There we go. So there's a lot of things like we'd precast Arctic Blast. We can throw Winter's Revenge in. What you don't want to do is like start your rotation with a non-damaging ability like Gravelord Sacrifice. You could start with Unnerving Boneyard would be a good one, but you just want to make sure that you have your dots down is basically what you want to do. Whoa, I need to have that. I've been CP160. Okay. No. You can farm at any time. It's scribing. Have you done any scribing, Loud? Pillar order carried me through in VMA. Terrell says, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, options here. We made a couple of skills. So if you were looking for some extra damage, Chilling Burst would be great for AoE fights, and it gives you the Minor Resolve, which we don't have, and that further reduces our damage taken. I think this would be pretty high on my list. Chilling Soul for the Major Cowardice could be another good one that you might want to slot. Again, we don't have a source. One of these we could swap out for more critical damage. We'd have to see where we're at with all of our critical damage and everything. We can look at that in a second. But the Major Cowardice single target, I would want that on my bar. It's a little bit awkward. I don't love this setup right now. We're not there yet. We have not landed on a build yet. Warning Contingency, the reduced damage taken the Gladiator's Tenacity by 8% for 8 seconds. That's only if you have all the Mage's Guild maxed out. It increases the duration by 2 seconds, but that's pretty massive. I mean, that's a pretty huge, and you can have the damage shield on that, which is pretty strong. Or you could do something else, but it also is providing us with Minor Resolve. So I don't know. I don't know that I'd really use Warden Contingency on this particular build, but it's there, I suppose. What else did we craft? Is that everything that we played with? I think that might be everything that we played with. Yeah. So now what do we want to do? So we're going to go through several builds, guys. So I don't want to spend all day on one build because we're just kind of playing around with stuff. This could all change. I need to go to a house and find a dummy. The Drunken Whales. The Drunken Whales have been very kind to me, and they have allowed me to stay in the guild just so that I can have a house to go to when I'm on PTS. So I want to say thanks to all the Drunken Whales out there. I've said like 2 words to these guys. I emailed the GM and was like, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I just need a house whenever I'm on PTS and it's EU. Do you mind? And they leave me in the guild. And it's really nice of them. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Drunken Whales. I don't know if any of you guys actually watch the channel. I bought the DLC and do not understand that scribing stuff. I don't know how to find them. Okay. Chicken Sis. I don't think I've ever used Pale Order. Are you serious, Chicken? Never heard of it till now. Wow. Okay. You start the... Yeah. Terrell saying you start the scribing quest in Skingrod. I did the quest, but like the other pieces, I don't know. I keep doing quests to get them. Rocky, no. So what happens, man, is you get leads, and you get leads, they drop from different places. So what you need to do is just Google and say, like, Ring of the Pale Order leads. And there's some really bad sites out there, and there's some good ones out there, but that's how you can find it. I'm sorry you got to wade through it a little bit. And then it'll tell you, like, this lead drops from this boss or this dungeon or whatever. And again, some of that information is not very good and some of it is. But then you need to go do the thing that will drop the lead. And it's kind of RNG based. So you might have to kill, one of them for one of the leads. I don't remember which one it was. You have to kill Clanfear. Or maybe it's like a certain kind of Daedra. But you just got to farm Clanfear. And it's really dumb. Some of them are good. Some of them are easy. Instead of Pale Order, I roll Dodge and Potions. Yeah. Yeah, for scribing. Yeah. And then you go scribe them up. Oh, I'm saying scribing. I was like, Terrell, why are you asking that? Oh my God, I'm saying scribing. I'm sorry. I'm saying the wrong name here. So, oh my gosh, oh God, oh, it's not scribing. I'm sorry. It's what the hell is it called? Excavation and scrying. It's scrying, not scribing. God, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry, it's a totally different system. And I'm like, why is he confused? Oh my God. Yeah, it's a totally different system. It's scrying, not scribing, guys. Jesus. So you have to go scry up stuff, and then you have to go excavate it. And you get the leads through scribing. It is in Skingrod, which is, where is that? Skyrim? Here? I think it's right here. Right here. Yeah. Here's where you go. To get it. So let me back out slowly so you guys can see that. Jesus. Western Skyrim, and then it's the main city here, Solitude, and then you go here, I believe. Right? Is that where you... Guild Wars 2 flashbacks? There's systems in systems, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's not scribing. Scribing is a different system. But you have to scry up. So not scribing, but you have to scry up the leads and then go dig up the items. Yeah, sorry about that. Jeez. I'm like, why is Terrell confused? I don't understand. So what you would want to do, guys. So what are we in right now? We're in heavy armor. No, we got 1 piece of heavy. We got mostly medium, 1 light, 3 heavy. We're in 3 heavy, some light, and a medium. Not what we want to be in. But what you could do is first off check and be like, hey, does any of this stuff give me extra critical or anything? And you could check through here. You'd also want to check your passives. And one of the things we know that when we generate ultimate, we get extra critical. So we do that. We kill the dummy. Hopefully we have I don't think we have our add-ons on. No. Okay, well you could pull up your character sheet, I suppose, and see what your critical damage is. And we want to choose if we're going mag or stam. I think probably mag would make the most sense. cool. And yeah, you can check your stats, see where you're at, and you're trying to make sure that your critical damage is capped out. I think we need to do advanced stats. Let's find out. I don't know where it is. I don't ever look at this. I always look at CMX. Is it here somewhere? Is it really not here? Surely it's here, right? How do you guys do this on console? I don't know. Without add-ons, I can't function. Oh, it's right there. Spare critical. It's not even in that. Okay, cool. So this is going to be raid buffed, so we probably wouldn't want to go raid buffed. We'd actually want to make sure that we're on one of the other dummies if we're talking about a solo build. So you can come hit this guy and check CMX if you want to check your stats or what have you. Or I guess we can pull it up and see right now. So it's pretty low. Do we have all our passives in our armor tree? So if you look at your armor tree, guys, one of these passives here will increase the amount of critical damage. There it is, dexterity. So right now it's at 6%. Increases your critical damage and healing done by 2% for every piece of medium armor. We only have 3 pieces of medium armor. We should probably be running 6 pieces of medium armor about. You can tweak that a little bit, maybe 1 piece of light. And then light armor, I'll note that will increase your penetration. So just realize that. And then see what everything is at. See what your penetration is at. So we can see here that our spell, our resistances, spell and physical resistance are about 17, almost 18,000. If you want to check everything, obviously make sure you got all your buffs up. So hit your Frost Cloak. That'll give you major resolve, and then we'll use our source of minor resolve here, and then we'll check, and we can see we're like 26K. That's pretty good. The cap is 33K. That's not going to be fully, like, completely tanky there. If we wanted more, there's a couple of things we could do. But getting this up to that 33K mark would be the worst idea. Slotting more ice skills on our front bar would help us do that, although we already have 3. So that's giving us an extra almost 4K resistances there. Must be at least 7th or 8th in scrying, I think. Yeah, thanks, Lucas. Yeah, to get the items, the mythic items, you have to be pretty high in scribing. And oh my god, am I saying scribing again? In scrying. So you want to make sure pick one character, probably your main, and then you go, and what you can do is go to each area. There's guides on this, guys, but you can go to each area, and there's one item there that is like a higher rank, and it'll give you more XP, and you do that on one character until you got your scrying maxed out. You don't need to scry on everybody, but you do need to do it on one of your characters, your main, and you can find the leads, and then you can scry them up. You can find leads on any character. I believe I don't even know if they have to have scrying unlocked. You might have to have it unlocked but not leveled. I'm not sure about that. But you could find them, and then you use your character that you leveled it on to scry it for you. Rocky says, just found out about add-ons 3 days ago. Watched your video, and I've been console for 7-8 years on ESO. I was distraught hearing about the add-ons. Oh no, I'm sorry, man. Console, it's rough. You guys are getting add-ons soon, though. You're getting add-ons soon. Yeah, so anyways, just check, again, whenever you're doing this. You got minor resolve, you got major resolve, and then just check and see what your resistances are. It really depends on what you want to do. I've got videos on how to get resistance, guys. If you're solo, like maybe having a defending front bar weapon will give you like 3,000 over resistances. So that's one way you could do it. Obviously, you're giving up whatever your front bar trait would be. You could change your Mundus Stone. Go look at tank videos on resistance. But things you really want to consider and really want to look at is, what are your resistances at? What's your crit damage going to be at? Because you want it at that 120 cap. You're not going to be able to get it there probably in solo if you're going with a survivability build. But that's the second thing I would look at. And then, third thing I would look at there is probably... What would I say? Resistances, penetration would probably be the third thing. And that you want, if you're soloing dungeons, you're looking to get about 18,000. And if you're not at that 18,200 mark for penetration, Not for. I'm sorry if I said resistance. I mean penetration. That's what the difficult mobs and veteran dungeons will be at. Then, basically, any trade-off, if it's penetration versus something else, penetration is almost always going to be the better stat to choose. And that can help you kind of fill out the rest of your character. Guys, I'm going through this real quick. Is this landing for anybody? Is this helpful information? Do you feel overwhelmed? Like, let me know. Give me some feedback here, because I could riff on this all day. But I'm thinking we'll move over and talk about this on another character. On this particular build, again, check what you're with all your buffs up and everything. See what you're looking at. We're again 26k resistances, pretty good. A little bit more with magic here, and just that's going to be because of our armor. Certain armors will give you more of one or another, and aim to be at resistance cap for survivability. Aim for penetration cap to be maximum damage, and then that extra critical damage is going to be very useful. Again, the main buff we're missing here for this is going to be that we don't have the buff we would get normally from B-Strap here, which is minor force, but we could change one of these scribing skills to give us minor force. So there's definitely opportunity there. At some point, you're either giving up survivability for damage, and it's always a trade-off, and it depends how far you want to go. If you're going into the Endless Archive with this, you absolutely want Major Cowardice, and you want Minor Cowardice as well. Off Balance is a great damage increasing ability, but I would swap this out for Minor Cowardice, and then I would use Chilling Soul for Major Cowardice, or you could also use Chilling Burst. I think also had Minor Cowardice here. But you want both, and when you have those elite ads that pop out in the archive, you just want to make sure you have Major and Minor Cowardice. I'm sorry, I'm saying Courage. Major and Minor Cowardice on them. That's just the opposite of Courage. And then you would also make sure your back bar is an infused weapon with a weakening enchant to reduce their... or is it weakening? Whatever the enchant is that reduces an opponent's weapon and spell damage. And if you do those three things... both cowardices, and then make sure you have an infused weapon with that enchant on it, and that you keep whatever it'll be our ice wall of elements. Make sure you keep that down, because that'll proc your enchantment on your back bar. You'll be able to survive through those elite ads at least to level 5. So let me see here. Let me catch up. Vatcher says, I've been finding tons of leads. Don't even have the first quest accepted. Okay. They expire in 30 days, Vatra, so might be something you got to hop on and get that done. Maybe I need to do a video kind of covering some of this a little bit more, like really quickly, just like talking about some of this more basic stuff. Maybe a checklist for everybody. Maybe that would be helpful. I've thought about doing Ring of the Pale Order, guys, as like, because I know the title and thumbnail already, right? Like it's like the secret that all in-game players use. We just get good damage. You know what we do when we're going to like do most solo content? We take our Trials build, we take off whatever mythic we had, we put on Ring of the Pale Order, and that's all we do. Literally, that's all we do for most content. And then really the only thing you need to worry about is things one-shotting you. And so you will get to a point where like, okay, yeah, I need Major Resolve, I need Minor Resolve. If I can get Minor Protection or Major Protection or whatever else, then you add that stuff in, and it works really well. Chicken says, Artaeum small location to farm level scrying. Yes. Yeah, you go in Artaeum until you get to like a certain level. I don't know if it's like 3 or 5 or whatever. And then once you get to that level, you get to the point where you can scry up certain leads. Can we see scrying here? Where's our scrying at? It's been so long since I've had to do scrying. When you look at zones, there'll be one item in a zone that I think you unlock. You like find it by scrying, and it will be, I think, an orange item. What color is it? I don't remember. It's like a higher level item. And it'll give you more XP towards scrying. And you go to each zone. It's one item, unique. You only get it once. And you scry until you get that item. Scry it up, dig it up, excavate it up, and it'll give you the most XP. And then you move to the next zone. Once you've done that across like a handful of zones, quite a few, but a handful of zones, you'll be at a high enough level where you can scry up the items you need for the mythics. is how it works. I know all this is really fast, guys. Rocky says it's all new to me regardless. I just caught up on DLC. I've been playing base game 7 years. Okay, crazy. All right, cool. Vatra says, well, I know what I'm doing this weekend. There you go. It can be a bit of a grind, so don't burn yourself out. Loud says, I'm so far from understanding most of what's going on in-game. I only wanting to have fun while learning classes. Loud, that's great. That's good. You were a checklist for new players? Okay. I'm definitely, I'd definitely be here for a checklist video. Okay. All right, we can consider doing that. Yeah, if you don't have Ring in the Pale Order and you're making a build like this, you would want to make sure that you build in some healing into your build, and that's how you'd stay alive. And that's kind of a different build. It would depend what we were talking about. Ideally, you pick like a spammable or something that will heal you, Loud, and that will help you out. I wouldn't run this exact build. This wouldn't be good. Okay, our DK is really much worse next patch. Well, next patch, Victor, everything's so different. Are you talking about the class itself? Are you talking about DPS on a DK? Because no, like DK, there's a skill line for tanks and for DPS that are definitely going to be used next patch. Yeah, but I think next patch, unless you're multi-classing, you're going to be pretty far behind everybody else if you're not multi-classing. Yeah, class skill lines. Yeah, they've got a couple skill lines that are still good to use. Rest of staff on back bar with arc heal beam is awesome for keeping me and companions up and overworld. Okay. Yeah, do you use the heal beam too on your, or I'm sorry, the shield beam on for your damage too? Because a lot of times Tentacular Dread and then the shield beam can get you pretty far, depending on what you're doing. Oh, you're level 26. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, then that works great. That sounds good. Yeah, rest of staff back bar would work. You're new. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Loud. I'm so used to in-game and everything else. I'm a little bit detached from the new player experience. Kat says, you cooked up any one-bar heavy attack builds on PTS yet? I'm excited for the new heavy attack mythic. I played with it, Kat. Everything was bugged out, and so I kind of bailed on it. But there should be plenty you can do. I think choosing Nightblade as one of your options is probably a good way to go. Sork with the extra lightning damage is the second one that comes to mind. And then, well, we're kind of done here, right? Like we kind of came up with a build. I don't know that I'm super happy with this. Like, if I wouldn't put out a video on this. I hope you guys know that. We're playing around. I think we got a lot of the stuff we want on this build for survivability and for damage and what have you. For a solo build, but we could definitely do more with this build. I would check to see where our critical damage is at. I would actually get our gear set up right. We don't have on proper gear, and then go from there. For sets that we could use, it's really up to us. Probably the two sets that I would lean towards with something like this. There's a lot. Let me see. I forgot. It's in Blackwood, right? Is the ice damage set? Let me... Oh, I don't even know. I don't remember what it's called. Someone remember for me. Yeah, so it'd be DLC zones, and it would be Blackwood. Yeah, Frostbite. Jeez. Frostbite set would work really good with this build. I think that would be a great option. It is light, so you'd want to pair that with something medium, and ideally with a trial set for our second option, and then we would use the Velothi, we'd use Ring of the Pale Order for our mythic. Yeah. And then a Maelstrom Ice Staff back bar and a Ice Staff, two Ice Staffs, so Ice Staff on the front bar as well. Let's pop out and let's make another build. What do you guys want to see? What's another like solo build that you want to look at? Or if people don't want solo builds, we can talk about more meta setups. But I know that we talked about a few, and I asked earlier, and you guys put it out, but I don't remember now at this point. Did you get the new free house yet in the Golden? Victor, I haven't even looked. I don't think so. I usually don't even... I don't do housing, so I'm like... I know it's supposed to be cool, but I haven't even bothered with it, honestly. Loud says, I'm starting to understand how skills interact with each other, listening to your build craft. Okay, good. Glad it's helpful. Really interested in coming up with builds with Sork as the base class. Okay. Any particular use there, Raiden, that you're thinking? And Loud, did you say there was a build that you wanted? I mean, we have a request for a 1-bar heavy attack. We could look into that, what we might do with it, with the new mythic. Still thinking? Okay. Let's, just because it's the last thing that was said, let's look at 1-bar heavy attack build real quick. I think we could do that. I'm trying to think of what would make the most sense. You said with a sorcerer. So we'll go with a sorcerer base. And just go from there. We'll choose Dark Elf just because it'll be fine whether we choose Mag or Stam. We'll keyboard spam and we'll create one. Yeah, the heavy attack mythic works well. It works well. I built some stuff and played around with it. So one of the things we'll have with the heavy attack mythic, and if we, gosh, let's just pull it up. I forget what it's called. Don't remember what it's called. Let's see if we can't find it. It's a belt, no brutality. It's one of these down here. Satan Seducer? No. Wait, is that it? No. Did we miss it? Oh, this is it. It's not jewelry. That's why. Rakat's Void Mantle. There we go. So it does replace your it's a shoulder piece, so it will replace your monster set. I don't know that I remembered that, even though I've used it. So reduces the damage. Oh no, this is reduce the damage of your light attacks by 50%. Dealing damage with light attack restores 430 magic or stamina, depending on your equipped weapon type. So I guess stamina weapons give stamina back, and vice versa. Gain additional resources when dealing damage on off-balance enemies, and less resources when damaging a blocking enemy. Increase the damage of your heavy attacks by 50%. Heavy attacks no longer restore resources. So the main thing we'll note here is that we no longer have a source of Empower. For those who don't remember, Empower increases your heavy attack damage by, it's like 70%? Something incredibly high. So we'll port over here. Loud says, Herald of the Tomb, Assassin, Animal Comp. Okay, cool. We'll do that next. I'm curious about the heavy attack mythic too. Yeah, you just put it on and it works, guys. There's not much else to it. It does increase your damage by a significant amount. Loud says, but I see now it won't work with Warden base, so Arc base. Yeah, it won't work as well if you want to generate and use Crux Loud. It would probably be better. Silver, it's good to see you. Will my main Warden DPS be any good in update 46? What lines would you go for with it? So Silver, we just did like a Frost build, like most of a Frost build. Like we didn't like tweak everything out to make it perfect or whatever, but we kind of started on one. So that would be one option for you if you wanted to go with a Frost build. Animal Companion skill line is still good. And yes, there are some builds that are using animal skill lines, Animal Companion skill line, and doing a lot of damage. So yeah, you will be okay going forward. I have some notes. I might have to just look at them real quick to try to remember. I don't know if I remember what. I don't know if I have them here. No, that's not going to do it. Animal Companion skill line. I'm trying to think of what all we've been pairing with it. I'm getting brain fog at this point, guys. I'm sorry. So you can still go Crow, which obviously is kind of weird with the Warden, with the extra dot damage you're going to get from that from that skill line and extra critical you're going to get. If you do that, you're going to have a lot of penetration. You're also going to have a lot of extra critical, so you should be pretty good on that. What else you're pairing it with? Like you could go Nightblade, of course. You can also go Arcanist. Pretty much anything can pair with Arcanist, and you use Tentacular Dread. You just need a way of generating 3 Crux every 20 seconds, so you keep Tentacular Dread up, and that would work really well. So I'm thinking Warden, Arcanist, and something else, Silver, would be what you would want to go with. I will come up with a list, guys, of complete skill lines you probably want to get before the patch comes out as best I can. Hey Nani, what's going on? Nani reminding me that I have a trial here in 30 or 40 minutes. I was like, oh god, what time is it? Rocky says, so I have Necro Tank. My set is Grave Guardian, Imperium, and Lord Warden. Is that a good start? Rocky, your sets don't even matter when you're starting out, man. So yeah, that's fine. Whatever you got is totally fine. I would recommend Fortified Brass, which is a crafted set, to get yourself to resistance cap easily, and you don't need a set that really does anything for survivability for a tank, but that'll work. Vet Dungeons do destroy my shield. Yeah. Is Guardian Imperium, does that give you a shield? I don't even know what that set does, man. There's 600 sets in the game, for those who don't know. Bands of the Imperium? Probably Bands of the Imperium is what you mean? Yeah. Anything that gives you a shield is not going to be very good for a tank, Rocky, in any kind of group content, because your shields are going to go away so fast. It's not really going to do that much for you. The best way to survive is to just learn how to tank. But yeah, that's a fine setup. It's heavy. That's what matters. You want to make sure you get to resistance cap and then kind of move on from there. 10k damage shield, yeah. Would Daedric summoning work too? Raiden, what context, I'm sorry, are we talking in? Dragon Knight has Empower, yeah. We can look at that. That's a good point. Dragon Knight has Empower. Let's look at this heavy attack build real quick. Dragon Knight does have Empower. Historically, Dragon Knight, even though they had Empower, it kind of sucked. And so usually the Templar Empower works better. Yeah, Nightblade also has Empower. I'm trying to think. Probably some other ones do as well, and then Mage's Guild can as well. The thing is that the Templar's Empower is on a really good skill line. I don't remember which one it is. I got to click on these to see what they are, what they do. Let me... You see here. Yeah, I think it's this line with Solar Flare. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Dawn's Wrath. Guys, let me bio real quick. Let me pause real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this up. I'll be right back in just a second. Let me kick you guys to an ad while I do, okay? All right, back. Let me see here. Cool. So Raider, MGR Raider. I wasn't sure which class skill line you were talking about. Were you talking about for the heavy attack? For the heavy attack build? The skill line we want from here is going to be whichever one gives us. I think it's going to be Storm Calling. Whichever one gives us electricity damage. That's what we're going to want. If you're talking about the heavy attack build, is going to be the primary one. Yeah, increase physical and shock damage by 5%. I mean, it's not insane, but it's something. So we're going to keep Storm Calling. Actually, let me catch up on the rest of chat first. Let me see. Yeah, Dragon Knight has some power. Cool Templar has some power. Yep. Solar Barrage. Yep. Adric Spear with Mage's Guild and power. Yeah. Yep. Another source there. And then... hey, what's up, Boss? Yeah, so what I would probably do is... wait, you said Adric Spear? What are the passives here? Critical damage. Okay. Protections. Let me see. Burning Light. So when you deal damage, generate a stack of Burning Light for 3 seconds. After reaching 4 stacks, you deal 633 magic damage to your target. This effect can stack once every half second and scales off the highest of your weapon damage. Okay, sure. Increases your weapon and spell damage by and armor by 3%. Yeah, passives are legit there. If we were just, I would be curious what it would look like with just Dawn's Wrath. What do our passives here look like? Increases our duration or some of our abilities. We get a little bit ulti-gen. Minor sorcery. Yeah, there's nothing else really good from the skill line, huh? Reduce health, magic, and stamina, and ultimate cost of abilities. And then we would get Solar Flare. Yeah, there's not much else in the skill line that really gives us anything for that. What about for Dragon Knight skill lines? I don't remember. Is it Ardent Flame? Or is it, maybe it's Earth and Heart? I think Empower comes from Molten Weapons here. My chat is really small. Let me see if I can't make this a little bit larger. There we go. Cool. No problem, Loud. I'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. Dawn's Wrath doesn't have good passes, but the active skills are great. Yeah. Oppression and buff Solar Flare. Yeah. Boss, we're looking for like a heavy attack build, man. So I was just trying to source some form of some form of Empower from a class skill line. We can do Mage's Guild, and it's probably fine now. So maybe we just do that, honestly. But I'm just kind of like looking to see what else we could do here. Yeah, and it was Stormclawing, right? Yeah, it was. Okay, cool. Yeah. What else would just purely buff our heavy attack damage? I am trying to think. Like we could do. I mean, you can always go Arcanist, which kind of probably feels it's going to get pretty played out after a while because Tentacular Dread is just going to increase all of our damage. So that's kind of always an option. But then we also need to generate Crux. I mean, Mage's Guild is probably the best option then. Yeah, I think it is. Because we don't want to grab any of those other ones. Yeah. I think we would want, if we're doing that, so we can't just spam shields every GCD, and you're kind of thinking about being in group content. So we'd probably want to go damaging. Can we go damaging on our Mage's Guild scribing? I know recasting a lot of these skills early does not work very well. You can technically do it. Nightblade also has a source. Yeah, Ambush. Yeah, for Empower. Yep. Yeah. So you got to find some source of it. I think we'll just say Mage's Guild for now, and then we can see what we want to do. Yeah, Ulfzil's. Yep. What else could we do? So damage over time. Our heavy attack is half damage over time, half burst damage, I believe. So Grave Lords could work there. And then we're really looking at passive. So I think we're in a situation where we're going to be looking at Nightblade probably. reasonable parts. It doesn't really do anything. For Death Knell is pretty hooked up and it gives us some penetration, and increases your damage over time. Yeah, I'm gonna say Grave Lords. I don't know, guys. We're kind of just playing around at this point. So this would work okay, and we would go with Grave Lord Sacrifice. That would buff part of our damage there. We like, as far as like really strong dots, like Boneyard, it can be pretty good if we, consume a corpse with it, which if we're using Gravelord Sacrifice. But the problem is this is every 10 seconds, and we'll only have it every other cast. So it does 33% more damage every other cast. It's okay. It's nothing, crazy or insane or, something to write home about. If we want a little bit of survivability and damage, going with Boundless Storm would be a good option. And that would give us major resolve as well as doing a bit of damage. And we are getting extra 5% lightning damage. Man, I don't even know, guys. My head's spinning thinking about all this. We need some sort of spammable as well. Crit Surge could be nice if we're running on solo, but we're really talking about using the new Mythic. So we're really just thinking about group content and going like full parse. I'm trying to think of what else would just give us a bunch of damage. And I think it's going to be the usual suspects here for the most part. Like it's going to be... Is there anything in the DK skill line that would hook us up? It's really mostly about the passives, I feel like. Lightning Flood post-update seems really good. Oh, yeah, the self-synergy. I forgot about that. Yeah. Is that Lightning Splash here? Yeah, more lightning damage. It's also thematic, which is kind of cool. And both are considered... Does this have upfront damage as well, or is it purely damage over time? Purely damage over time, and then more lightning damage. I like it. That's fun. And it's thematic. That's also appropriate. What do we want to replace with Daedric Summoning, though? So let me pull some up. Just dot. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let's look at passives. I really just don't even know off the top of my head. So we got Combustion. We've got Warmth. Whenever you deal direct damage with an Ardent Flame ability, your damage over time attacks, deal 3% increased damage to the target and reduce movement speed. Huh. We would have to confirm this is all damage over time abilities. Because if it buffs all damage over time abilities, we're buffing again that damage over time portion of the heavy attack. But usually the damage over time portion versus the explosive dot is usually 50-50 without a whole lot of buffs to one or the other. Obviously, if you have buffs to one or the other, it's going to tilt the scales. But if my memory serves, which it might not, it's usually about 50-50. Yeah, I would agree. Well, and it's 3%, so it probably goes up to either 5 or 6%. So it's not bad. Increase the duration of your abilities. Increase the duration of, or the damage, I'm sorry, of flame and poison attacks. And, there's some decent, so this guy's in the running here. Again, like, Assassination would be fine. What do we got here? Just a bunch of crit. And then, the other thing is with the Assassination, right? We want a 1-bar build. We can put Grim Focus on our back bar. We'll just play around with it and see how we like it. We're having problems here, guys, at the house, so I might have to figure something out. Apparently, we don't have gas, so we can't cook because all of our things are gas. So yeah, we could go with Relentless Focus, and we could still run a 1-bar build, but we just put it on our back bar, and it'll still give us the benefit of all of our light attacks proccing, and so that would work pretty well. If we wanted Empower, we could also grab it here. Do both morphs provide Empower? No, only Ambush does. And Minor Berserk, which we don't really need in a group setting. It's a skill. It does. It is kind of nice that it has a. Oh wait, does this version not have it up front? No. Okay. Okay. The stamina morph. Is it all up front? It doesn't have a dot portion. Is that what it is? Okay. But I think main thing is we would put relentless focus, and then what we get from all these passives here is we get a bunch of critical for the most part. So increase our critical strike chance by 6.6%, and increase our penetration on as well, right? Oh no, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't do that anymore. Okay, so it's just critical chance there. Executioner can not really going to matter for us in group content. Oh, hey, sorry about that. Let me make a name. Says, what's the build goal? We're looking at a 1-bar heavy attack build. 1-bar heavy attack build in the new meta. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Um, guys, I tore my calf, and I'm sorry. I'm on muscle relaxers right now, and it's kind of messing with me a little bit. I've been saying this all week, but I have quite a few still to go through. And yeah, so I'm sorry about that. Soul Harvest back bar. Let me see. Give me just 1 second, guys. I'm actually gonna have to go right now. I have something coming up at the house, and so I'm gonna have to end the stream. We're gonna be back in like 25 minutes, but I gotta go right now. So I just have to call it right here. We'll come back to this. It won't be a big deal, but we're just gonna pause for now, or at least I gotta throw up. I gotta throw up a "We'll be back" sign for a second. All right, we're back. uh, where were we, guys? Sorry about that. We're just since cycle ads. That would have been a great idea. I should have done that. Could have made some money there, Frady. Uh, um, oh man. Okay, so we got ambush here. Probably not going to be. I don't know. It's an option. We need some source of empower. I think probably Mage's Guild is maybe a better way. We'll have to see. Um, the interesting thing is your heavy attacks don't give you back any resources, so that's like one thing you have to really consider. Do we use Incap as our ulti? I don't know. It's an option. I feel like probably Overload. Isn't Overload considered a heavy attack? So yeah, this is probably what we want to use for our ulti. Is it Power Overload? I think it's Power Overload. Yeah. Probably that's what we want to do. I don't know. We'd have to play with it. We'd have to play around with parsing. I'm not actually sure what would be better there. But yeah, I guess this is like one option. Doing this, the main thing though is we get a bunch of critical damage. We get an extra 10% here, as well as providing minor savagery for our group, which we'll have plenty in our group if we're in that situation. Ward might be okay if you keep up frost damage for the piercing cold passive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like it's really all about the passives though. Name and so the most of the passives in that skill line are like only one of them buffs your frost damage, and when we're doing heavy attack, we're always using a lightning staff, and so I don't think it would be the like we could do it, but I don't think it would be the best thing to do. This is gonna again just we're gonna get a ton of critical strike chance and as well as critical damage from this skill line, and so it's pretty hooked up for that, just like passively, and then relentless focus on the back bar even if we're not using it, it's going to, again, be pretty hooked up. So I tend to think assassination is a good call. And maybe something vaguely like this. I don't know. One buffs frost damage, another buffs shield procs. But you really got to invest in shield for it to be worth it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dealing frost damage boosts all damage. Yeah. So name, it does via minor brittle, which increases your critical damage done to a target. It doesn't increase all of your damage, just period. It increases your critical damage done to a target. In most optimized groups, which is kind of what we're building towards, someone else would probably do that. And so it wouldn't really be that important for you. Does that make sense? Yeah, so we also played around with a frost build earlier as well. So trying to do something a little bit different also. But the rest of the passives in that skill line aren't great, and the assassination ones are just so good. Other options, let me see. Let me talk to, let me get that skill respec scroll going on here to see what else might be good. I really like how like thematic this would be if like Lightning Flood is a little bit better. I think that's pretty cool. So again, it's a little bit played out, but Herald of the Tome. We get the 12% increased critical damage here. What else do we get? We get a bit of like 280 something weapon and spell damage. And status effect chance or damage also goes up, and chance, I'm sorry. And then we get a bunch of penetration. It doesn't actually strike me. Like, I think we're good not running it. What other skill lines would be good? So I think that we looked at the DK was the other one. We're not going to choose another Necro line. It would have to be a Necro to do that anyways. This is the new mythic, right? The reverse effects of light and heavies. Yeah, exactly. You gain resources by light attacking. You don't lose them from heavy attacking, but you don't have. So I think you still have decent recovery. It's just not infinite, sustained because you're heavy attacking, constantly getting back max magicka, so you can spam shields and everything else. So I think really often going to be for group content. And then Adric Spear, I think, was suggested earlier. More critical damage done. Minor Berserk, we don't really care about. Minor Protection, we don't really care about. Burning Light would give us some extra passive damage. and Balanced Warrior would increase as well. Again, same deal. Like, it's not bad, but it doesn't really encourage me. I think we saw Dawn's Wrath passives weren't that crazy, so I don't think it's worth doing that. We already figured out our we want Assassination if we go Nightblade, so I think it would be, was it Ardent Flame? Let's see what Ardent Flame would look like. We'll swap out Assassination. I don't think it's going to be worth it, but like, let's look at it. So okay, when you deal direct damage with an Ardent Flame ability, your damage over time attacks deal 6% increased damage to the target, reduce their movement speed by 30%. Okay, so yeah, I think it's all of your dots by 6%. We don't have that many dots. The other thing is weird is like we have Gravelord here, which also increases our dot damage, but we end up not having that many dots, which is kind of awkward. I don't actually know how well it'll pair, is kind of what I'm getting at there. It would be much better for running a very dot-heavy setup. I do think moving forward as like a meta build, I think that Ardent Flame with Gravelords could be a good option, and then you would go Arcanist with a Tentacular Dread, and I bet there's probably some parses out there with that as well. Cool things about this, we also could get, well, I'm sorry, I keep thinking about solo content because it's like, we could get Major Breach. It's not really worth it. Increase fire damage. None of these, it would really just be whichever one does the most damage, and I don't know if that would be Venomous Claw, probably would be the most damage here from the skill line. You could do Whip, maybe, as your spammable. Would that be weird? If you wanted more AoE, you could drop Venomous and go with Fiery Breath. Probably doing Noxious. Would this work okay? I mean, we could try it out. Venomous Claw as a dot and Whip as the unused back bars again. Oh, brilliant. Boss, you're right, dude. You're so right. Yeah. We could just keep this on our back bar and not use it. Does it work on both bars? I assume it does. Whenever you activate an Ardent Flame ability while in combat, you gain a stack of Seething Fury, increasing your weapon damage of your next Molten Whip by 20% and your weapon and spell damage by 100 for 15 seconds. This effect can stack up to 3 times. It is a little bit awkward in that you have to recast early, but like you said, probably swap Noxious Breath. Yeah. The thing is, so that would be 300 weapon and spell damage. Yeah, don't we get like so much more from Assassination? What is Grim Focus at right now? I don't remember. Grim Focus is so stacks up to 10 times and it's 400. So Relentless would be better. It would be a case of like, do we drop Necro? The Necro skill line? Like, what all do we get from Necro skill line? Yeah, they brought it down. I don't think they reverted it all the way back, but they did bring it down. Yeah. Oh, or is that fully reverted? That is, isn't it? Because 400 is what it did before, didn't it? I don't remember. Huh. Man, I don't remember that being as bad of a nerf, but yeah, it's pretty bad. So, reduce cost. We don't need that. Increase our critical and execute, which is nice. More penetration and dot damage, which again is like a crazy amount of dot damage. I don't know, guys. We'd have to try it out, but I think both could work. I think Assassination, Gravelords, and then we'd have a choice here of, like, you know, potentially going with Ardent Flame. Some choice of those 3 in addition to Stormcalling is probably the I don't know. I think those are the 4 skill lines that I'd want to look at and try out with this. That's my takeaway. Anybody else have any thoughts? I think it's about time we need to hop over onto live just to get ready. This is a Nani trial, so I'm already late by not being there early enough. Yeah. All right, go catch you later, Silver. Thanks for dropping in. Okay, we are Arcanist healing this. Hop on Dark Scales Mini Eyes. It's the Bucket Brigade tonight. Where's this house at? Was it this month or was it last month? The house. I don't see a house. So was it last month? Someone's asking me about it. Or is it Golden Pursuits? I don't do those usually, so maybe that was it. All right. Okay, and Golden I don't even know how to get to it. That's how much I don't look at Golden Pursuits. All right, and let's figure out how we need to X up here. Google over there thinks I'm talking to him. Gotta love that. Let me see. We got Bucket Brigade. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Merciless was 400. It was nerfed slightly. Relentless now 400. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, Psycho. Appreciate it. All right, just changing our setup there on Twitch. And we should hop in comms.
Bread in a stand mixer, so that's why. I
Ah.
actually need to run down and put it into a different bowl, a greased bowl to rise right it before we start. Got the 7-minute timer going.
Ah.
Spices is up a bit.
Bread.
What about the region?
Hey, Knight.
Hello.
How are ya?
I'm good.
Yeah, you messed up your knee or your muscle.
Yeah.
Our legs need to just have some chill.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine. I've only had one instance where I forgot it was hurt and did something stupid, but for the most part, it's been fine. I just kind of limp around the house. It's not a big deal. I just don't. Turns out it's surprisingly easy to just not use your calf, but still walk.
Huh.
I mean, you got to just walk on your heel, but so far it's been fine. So, not anywhere near the level of what you.
Hobbling.
Yeah. I feel like you wrecked yourself pretty good. I'm sorry.
I kind of did, but you know. I'll get a summer of gaming.
Yeah.
Knight, I have a favor.
Oh, am I marked as something?
Could you heal for me tonight?
I can do that just for you.
I
Just for
love
you,
that
Nani.
he knew automatically.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to read, you know. Like, hey, do you mind doing me a favor?
Franny asks, what about the regen and all that stuff, by the
Totally
way?
still
Because
missing.
people seem to want to stack damage bar
Oh, Kip's
skills,
not through.
and at the final, you see what I mean? It's not a problem
Oh,
anymore.
now Kip's.
Or would it be one
Oh,
more?
shut up
Just
now.
Huh?
Huh?
Franny,
No, it's just Daedric.
are you worried
How are you,
about
Daedric?
sustain?
Good.
Or is that your main part of
Good.
what you're worried about? I'm just trying to understand a little bit
Kick
better.
back in my recliner. I got my knee elevated. Y'all be proud
Because
of
you're
me.
still recovering
Following
passively.
orders.
It just means you're not getting the huge
But
recoveries
nice.
you get from heavy
Yes.
attacking. Maybe that's why they keep giving us more sustained
I have
sets.
gotten
Oh,
out of where I
gosh.
don't have to hop. I can shuffle.
Guys, let me
That's
kick you over
good.
to the new stream,
Oh, they're letting you
and
put
we'll
weight
be
on
right
it now?
back
Nope, no wait.
on
No
YouTube.
wait. I just kind of shuffle a little better.
And it should kick you over to the new stream. If not, you guys know
Nope,
where to
zero
find
weight
me.
for 12 weeks.
Gotcha.
If I don't have surgery. If I have surgery, then I guess it starts.
And if
over.
you're on Twitch, just hang out.